Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? Oh, man, that was a tough loss, man. Very tough loss against the Nets tonight. We battled, we fought real hard, just could not come out with a dub. It is what it is. So before I dive into the full recap, I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned into the pregame stream tonight. We had another good pregame stream, a lot of good conversation, everything, a lot of good questions. So thank you to all who joined. If you missed it, be on the lookout for my next one. I'm not really sure what game I'm going to do it for, but maybe I'll do it for the Bulls game on Sunday. Not really too sure yet, but just want to say thank you for everybody that tuned in. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a like on the video. We are on our way to 900 subs. Again, 1,000 is right around the corner. I can't stress it enough. If y'all want to see that jersey giveaway, hit the sub button down low and let's see if we can get to that 1K by the end of the year. With that being said, let's get right into it. So I'll be honest, I didn't really expect us to win this game tonight, but we did fight hard throughout the entire game. Went down by double digits multiple times throughout the game. They fought hard, got back into the game, and really just played with a lot of effort. So a credit to the guys tonight. They battled, just wasn't quite enough in the end. But if there is such thing as taking away positive things from a loss, it's this game. I mean, they did a lot of good things tonight, just unfortunately wasn't able to close it out at the end and come away with the W. It is what it is. We move forward, but again, a lot of positive things that we could take away from this game to maybe build some momentum and start to string together some wins here going forward. So starting out, both teams kind of turning the ball over early on. The first quarter was really all about Trey and KD. It was just an absolute duel from both of them, back and forth. KD was on absolute fire. He did cool down a little bit in the second half, but he hit a huge three late in the game, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But missing a guy like Dre tonight really showed with being able to guard guys like KD, especially in the post and everything. We really were missing a guy like Dre tonight. He was a late game scratch, so hopefully he's good to go for the game on Sunday. The Nets were just on absolute fire throughout the entire first half. They were hitting threes. KD I felt like he wasn't missing. It was like he was shooting into water. He was just not missing from the mid-range, just shot after shot after shot. But Trey was doing a good job kind of countering, attacking the paint, being aggressive, getting into the paint, finishing at the rim, finishing his floater. I felt like there was a lot of missed calls in terms of Trey not getting to the free throw line. There was a lot of questionable missed calls where I felt like he should have been at the free throw line, but it is what it is. That didn't really dictate the entire game. Hawks went down by as much as like 13 points or so in the first half, but made a huge run towards the end of the first half and got back into the game, going down 4 into the half. And credit to the guys, man. The bench stepped up and they fought, put forth a lot of effort, and really made it a game that we probably shouldn't have even been in, missing 3 starters. Second half was about 2 things: turnovers and Bogey and Kyrie. Those 2 were incredible the entire second half. Both teams were consistently turning the ball over. I know Trey had like 7 turnovers tonight, and a lot of them were kind of sloppy. I'm going to talk about one in particular a little bit later in the video, but both teams turning the ball over. Atlanta was capitalizing a lot of times off their turnovers, but they had, I think, Brooklyn turned the ball over 20 plus times, but even still, when a team turns the ball over that many times and the other team is still turning the ball over, it's kind of hard to really climb back into the game and create a cushion. So both teams not doing a good job of taking care of the ball. Kyrie caught fire. He hit like 3 threes in a row early on in the third quarter. Brooklyn went back up by like 10, 12 points, but Bogey had a huge bounce back game. Shot like 7 for 8 from 3. I don't really count that last 3 that he missed at the end of the game because, I mean, it was pretty much over at that point. But Bogey was incredible the entire night. Trey just had a huge lift from him offensively for help for Trey. And other guys kind of got involved. Trent Forrest had a really nice game off the bench. I'm going to talk about the bench in my final takeaways. But it was the Bogey and Kyrie battle in the second half, the KD and Trey battle in the first half. But in the end, KD and Kyrie, too much in the end, and they prevailed at the end of the game. Now, at the end of the game, there was a couple possessions where I want to point out, and a couple things that I kind of want to quickly talk about. And before I get into my final recaps, and number one, Jalen Johnson, I am sold that he's not ready. Jalen Johnson's not ready. This was a time for Jalen Johnson to really prove his game, and he just didn't do it. I think he finished with 2 points on the night. He was like 0 for 4 from 3 in wide open shots. He kept shooting the 3 ball. It wasn't falling. He tried to do a decent job on KD. He had a couple solid possessions defensively on KD, but Jalen Johnson he was not good tonight, man. And he was a big reason why down the stretch of the game, he missed a wide open three. And I mean wide open. I don't really remember what the score was, but it was a big shot. Unfortunately, he wasn't good tonight. There's one turnover that I want to point out towards the end of the game that Trey had, and that he does a lot. And it's whenever he's driving and he jumps almost like he's about to shoot a floater and he gets stuck. So when you do that, you got to make a decision. Am I going to shoot or am I going to pass? He got stuck and he had to pass out of it, and he passed it right into traffic, and it was a turnover. I don't understand why Trey does that. He does it consistently, where he beats somebody off the dribble, he's driving, and then he jumps up like he's about to shoot, but then kind of tries to throw a cross-court pass, and it gets picked off because it's just through heavy traffic. And that was a very key turnover towards the end of the game, because I think we were down 2 at that point. It might have led to a 3-point down the other end. I can't exactly remember how that play played out, but credit to the Brooklyn defense. They stepped up really on and kind of cut out Trey in the second half. I think he only finished with like 11 points in the second half, and they really neutralized him, especially from 3. He only hit 2 threes. I think he was 2 for 7 on the night, but that turnover right there was very crucial. And Atlanta just had a lot of bad turnovers towards kind of the stretch of the ball game. And then at the very end of the game, when we're down, I think we were down 3? Yeah, it was down. It was 116, 113, I think. And KD was isolating. He put up 2 tough shots, very well defensively played, and we just couldn't grab the rebound because they were just long rebounds that got either swatted out or just Brooklyn got a beautiful bounce to where it bounced right back to a Nets player. And that's tough, man. When you play great defense and you force a player into a tough shot, but you just can't grab the rebound either because it was just a bad bounce, or you just can't, come down with it. And that really killed Atlanta at the end of the game, with not being able to grab that rebound to be able to put themselves in position to be able to tie the game. Bogey did as much as he could tonight. Shout out to Bogey, man. After an abysmal game the other night against New York, he had a really solid bounce back game. And again, this is a game that I do think Atlanta can build on with what we saw out of the bench. But in the end, KD and Kyrie, just 2 offensive juggernauts, man. Again, it really showed us missing guys like DeJounte and DeAndre Hunter, who are our 2 best perimeter defenders. I give credit to some of the Hawks rotation guys. Trent Forrest really had a solid game. Jared Culver played some nice minutes, but overall, KD and Kyrie just too much in the end. So I'm gonna get into my final takeaways, and number 1 was Bogey in the bench. Again, I've already touched on it. Bogey, just an incredible bounce back game. It was so nice to see him get back into a rhythm and really give Trey the help that he needed offensively, because missing 3 starters, Trey was gonna be the guy tonight. I mean, he finished with like 33. He just really turned the ball over too much. It was a solid game overall, other than the turnovers. The bench really did step up though. Guys like Trent Forrest, I already touched on. AJ Griffin didn't really have a great game. He had a good first half, but didn't really do too much in the second half. And we saw Nate go with Trent Forrest down the stretch of the game as opposed to AJ Griffin. And I think that was because of the game that he was having, especially on the defensive end. He was playing a little bit better the defense than AJ Griffin was. So I'm not really mad at that decision, but we did lack a little bit of the shooting down the stretch of the game, other than Bogey and Trey. It was really just Bogey and Trey the fourth quarter. So very tough when you're battling with a guy like KD and Kyrie. But overall, shout out to the bench and Bogdanovich. Great game overall for them, and hopefully we can build on that. Number 2 was the turnovers. Again, just a lot of sloppy turnovers, way too many unforced errors, and that really shot Atlanta in the foot tonight. But again, Brooklyn was also turning the ball over, so it kind of canceled out in the end. Atlanta just didn't do enough to execute off of some of those Brooklyn turnovers, because we would turn the ball over right back. Again, Trey, very sloppy game in terms of the turnovers. Some were just unforced, thrown into traffic, over dribbling. There was that one possession, I think at the end of the first half, I can't remember. Yeah, it was at the end of the first half when he was over dribbling, and then it was a turnover. And TJ Warren went on, I think he went on to the break. Maybe it was Kyrie that went on to the break, but y'all remember the play I'm talking about when Trey was over dribbling and turned the ball over towards the end of the first half. So number 3 was KD and Kyrie, man. They're my third and final takeaway from this game. Again, just 2 offensive juggernauts. The Nets have been playing really well recently. Ever since they fired Steve Nash, the Nets have really looked like a very solid playoff team, and they're really starting to get it together. And shout out to KD and Kyrie. They both had excellent games. Kyrie kind of got got to a slow start, but really picked it up, especially in the second half. KD was great throughout the game. He hit 2 huge buckets late in the game, 2 huge threes, which kind of put them in the driver's seat. And again, when you're down 5 with, less than a minute to play or less than 30 seconds to play, that's a really tough deficit to come back from. We've seen it happen, but when you have a guy like KD and Kyrie on your team, when we're missing guys like Dre and DeJounte who can play defense, very hard for Atlanta to get stops down the stretch of the game. KD and Kyrie did what they were supposed to do, and they came out and they prevailed. So I'm gonna pretty much leave it there, man. Not a super long recap, but very hard-fought game. I'm proud of the way the guys played. A lot of energy. They fought and fought and fought till the end. A game that we probably shouldn't even realistically been in because missing 3 starters. So hopefully, we could take some positives out of this game, get some momentum. I wouldn't really call it momentum because it's in a loss, but again, if there's a lot of things you could take away from a loss, and if there's such thing as a good loss, it was tonight. And I don't really believe in good losses, but it wasn't like we got blown out like we did against the Knicks. So I like the way we fought. Hopefully we can come out and get a win on Sunday against the Bulls because they've really been struggling lately. They've got some injuries. Hopefully DeAndre Hunter will be back in the lineup on Sunday. He was a late game stretch, I already said that. So hopefully he'll be back in the lineup because we need the defense, we need the 3-point shooting, and it'll be nice to see us get healthy here soon, man, because we can really start to build something now that Bogdanovich is back. Once we get these other guys back, and maybe we can really get some wins against some of these weaker opponents going forward. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. What did y'all think overall of this game? Again, thank you for everybody who tuned into the pregame stream. I'm gonna do another one coming up here soon, so y'all be on the lookout for that. Leave a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.